Hey everyone, Egman here with another deck profile. Today we've got my version of the Sun Gohan Triple Strike build that I think a lot of people have kind of stumbled upon. I don't think it can be accredited to one person. I think it was pretty obvious when, we got a new Red Saiyan leader and also a new way to cheat out the 3-drop, Goku GT to go into the combo. So it just made a lot of sense, and I think a lot of people started brewing it. I've decided that, I want to try it out too, and this is my build for it. So I built this deck, and a friend of mine took it to locals this week and got first with it. So shout out to Abe for running it. I think I underestimated this leader a little bit, and I think it's a little bit more powerful than my top 10 list made it out to be. It's probably top 5 instead of just top 10, but I think it's a great leader and can also support a lot of archetypes that aren't just this one. But let's just go on into it. So let's look at the leader. So it has an active main Whisper Turn Burst 2. And if choose one card in your life add to your hand, and if your opponent has 5 or more life, deal 1 damage to your opponent. A lot of effects there, but all 3 of them are kind of good. Putting cards in your drop area is pretty good for some of the cards we have in this deck. Being able to Self Awaken has always been a good effect, and then also being able to deal 1 damage to your opponent without even attacking is pretty unheard of. Sure, they have to have 5 or more life for it to resolve, but I think that's really the most important time for you to do that, because you really just need to get your opponent down to 3 life for an uncounterable triple strike to come their way. So I think that helps out this deck a lot, and just a lot of value from that. And then it's also a draw 2 leader. If this is even an untap 1, I think this deck would be broken. But I think untap 0, draw 2 is fine. I think it could also have just been a draw 1 leader, because you just gain like a bunch of kind of aggro value from it, but I think it's kind of balanced out with the cost for the active main on the other side. So first, auto Sparking 5, you draw 1. Also, which isn't too crazy. Also, auto once per turn, when one of your battle cards activates Alliance, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 30k power or less and KO it. I don't know why this is here. It just seems like a really weird tack-on ability. I'm not sure why it's there. I've yet to see a deck that even runs Alliance with this leader. So, but I guess it could be kind of powerful for it, but I just simply haven't seen it yet. And then also, Sparking 5, choose 3 cards in your hand and place them in your drop area. Choose all your red and green battle cards. Then both the chosen cards and this card get plus 10k power for duration of the turn. So, being able to pump yourself up so all your cards like that for a cost of 3 cards, but let's say they're like 3 battle cards. Across your leader and 1 other card, you already have like a 5k boost, assuming they're not and assuming they're all 5k combos, right? And some of them could have been like either 10k combo cards where you would have had to play an energy or like a dead extra card, something like that. Just being able to give up so much pump for that, I think helps out this the burst for this leader a lot. So let's talk about the cards. We're going to talk about the 1-drops first. So we've got Dependable Mom Bulma. I think this card's always been good. It's kind of like the OG version of like the 1-drop Goku who searches out 4-drops, 4-star balls. Just the fact that you're able to draw 1 card a turn, and kind of makes your opponent try to remove it, and if they don't, you got to keep drawing. You also got to give a 5k boost to something, so that also helps out a lot. I think this can help out this deck a lot more too, because a lot of things kind of depends on power level and all that kind of stuff, but good card, and just helpful for getting card draw and all that kind of stuff. So next up, we've got Intensifying Power Trunks. We run this card because we're a red deck. This has always been a fantastic card, and just the fact that we're also running Chain Attack, and just being able to bring this card out for one less energy can help out a lot. I think it's a great card, and just being able to put pressure on your opponent by having a 15k crit and some more self-awakening. We really want to get to 4 life as soon as we can, just so our 3-drop Goku can be at 5 as soon as possible. So that's something else. And then also, let's kind of talk about the combos. So first, we've got the 1-drop pint-sized Warrior Son Goku. This lifts up the top 7 cards of our deck for any Son Goku GTs. So it can find itself, but also the 3-drop and the 7-drop are the most important. The 3-drop can also just be in your drop area, which can be bursted away if you're playing it through Familiar Bonds, which is most of the way you do it. But this card's really good. It's a 15k critical, which also has the effect when your life is at 4 or less, increase the energy cost of this card in your battle area by 2, which means cool, you can just go into this card for 1 red energy. So we'll talk about this card first. So we've got Familiar Bonds. This card is a desire card. If your leader card is red, and it doesn't have to be a Shenron, just a red leader, choose up to one red sailing card in your drop area with energy cost of 3 or less and 15k power or less and play it. And if you did, choose up to 2 Dragon Ball cards from your deck and add them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So being able to suggest, like, so this is a really specific Child's Wish, being able to get a 3-drop Saiyan that's red with 15k power or less. So that's 2 additional kind of conditions, and also you have to have a red leader. I still think this card's broken. So if that doesn't just say like how broken Child's Wish is, sure, you know you don't have to have a Shonen leader for this, so that's a little bit more flexible there. But yeah, just being able to do that, and also you get to find 2 Dragon Balls in your deck and add them to your hand. I think that's a really quote unquote ballsy move, especially since it pretty much says they have to be really careful if they make any other red Shenron leaders. But additionally, just being able to go plus almost like +2 and summon a card with a 1 energy cost reduction can be a super crazy value play. You know, for 2 energy, you get a 3-drop and 2 cards in your hand. That's crazy. So I'm running 3 4-star balls just to, you know, help capitalize on that. It doesn't really matter. And that these cards are just almost blank 5k cards. Just the fact that you have more cards in hand helps a lot, especially since you have to discard cards for this active main effect and all that. In worst case, it's just you just drop it for a combo, right? It's always good for that. So all that I think is helps out this card a lot, and just makes sense to add a couple of them in your deck if you have room for it. I'd almost want to put 4 in just because you know, some can be in your life or hand, or you can burst some of them. So but you usually find at least 1 ball if you play it with Familiar Bond, if not 2. So I think that's important enough, and I think there's flexibility in this deck to run that. So that's that. And then so all that happens, and then you play Triple Flash. So on turn 3, if you have 4 or less life, you can do Familiar Bonds into Determined Super Saiyan Sengoku, and then into Triple Flash, and there you go. So EX Evolve Red on a red Sengoku GT with an energy cost of 5 or more, deflect, and when you play this card, draw 2 cards, and you may not activate EX Evolve for duration of the turn. And then also if this card's power is 40k power or more, with an errata of also having a red Saiyan leader, which yours is, your opponent may not activate counters during battles when this card is attacking. So this can be a really great win condition. If your opponent's at 3 life and they don't have they can't just counter this card, they have to, you know, combo out of it or deal with it some way. I think there's some ways to get rid of it. Off the top of my head, Mutaito can counter this card, and also the fact that our Champa, which is just like a discount, like a, you know, poor man's version of Mutaito, or even blockers, which I think we'll be seeing a little bit more play nowadays. Just the you know how powerful that can be, especially since a lot of them are coming up for free. Like we're even running some free blockers and that kind of stuff. So that's something I think that this deck needs to take account of. But just in general, I think this can be a really solid win condition. And I think the best thing about this deck is that this is definitely not our only win condition, though. I think there's so much aggressive potential with this deck, and we're going to talk about that next. So if you kind of sense that your opponent's going to be able to, you know, get rid of this, if you think they have like Mutaito or something in hand, you can kind of bait that out and then finish the game in another way. So something that you can see with this deck is we've got a lot of cards that can just play themselves for free. You've got Bodyguard Logic that if your opponent has no battle cards, or sorry, if your opponent has battle cards in your battle in their battle area, and you have no battle cards in your battle area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. You've got Videl, Gohan's partner. If Son Gohan Adolescence is in your battle area, leader area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. So you can just play this for free at any time. And then also combination attack pan. So if you're Son Goku GT or Trunks GT with 25k power or more, then playing your battle area, you can play this card without paying an energy cost. And activate once per turn, choose up to 1 Son Goku GT or Trunks GT in your battle area and gains plus 5k power for duration of the turn. So this traditionally would be the way that you would pump up your, you know, Triple Flash to give it, you know, 40k power. But since you can give it plus 10k and get to 40k just with our leader alone, I think that's just a really powerful thing that can happen. So also just another thing to note, there are cards like the the 3-drop Hyperspeed Kaioken Goku that can like give something minus attack power when you play it. So you can make this minus 15k. So you can still boost this up to 40k in emergency situations with these combination attack pans, and also the dependable Womb Bulmas too. So that's just something to keep in mind. So What else is there? So we've got, though I guess they probably would have been on the 3-drop too. So I guess that's the other way to get around this engine is that there are a lot of ways to just kind of stop it when when you play the 3-drop, but I don't think that's. I think there are still ways around it. So after that, we've got. So you can just summon all these guys for free, and then you can just pump them up with your leader. You can also just drop a Fearless Pan and give all of them plus 5k in double strike, which can get really absurd really fast. And you can also do some fun stuff with Chain Attack Trunks. You can play Intensifying Power Trunks and play this for 3 energy total with the Intensifying Power Trunks. Play Fearless Pan, so give it the boost and double strike. So it's now at 25k, and then you can play all your combination attack pans and Videl, Gohan's partners. And then after that, you can play. You can just do the boost from your leader and give them all plus 10k. And then, so you've got this is a 35k double strike. This is a 25k single strike. Your leader's a 30k double strike. And then you've got a bunch of 15ks and 20ks single strikes too. So I think that can be really oppressive in being able to just summon a wide board, especially if your opponent was only having, expecting to deal with one big boy instead of having to deal with a bunch of medium-sized attackers can really screw up your opponent. So that kind of flexibility, I think, really makes this deck kind of shine. So other than that, some extra cards we're talking about. So we've got Food's Rock Banisher, just an average win condition. I don't know if it belongs in this deck, but I just, we threw it in just because having a 25k triple strike or triple attack guy that also makes your opponent, have to discard cards from their hands can, help out a lot. We have Support Attack Gohan as your super combo just because we're going to get to 4 life really easily. We have After Image Technique because it's a good card. And then we've got Denial of Hope. I'm not sure how I feel about this card in this deck since we're so aggressive, and I think this is more like a mid-range control card. I think this card can probably come out, but I could see it being in the side deck at least for cards that can cause this deck trouble. So if they're playing like Deadly Defender or something, you can just play this and then they just wasted 3 energy and now you're good to go, right? So I could see a lot of arguments for this, maybe in the main deck for a best of 1 format, but I think a side deck card for sure instead for potential decks that can have answers for any of your stuff. So and I think that's going to be it for this deck. I think I covered everything. So really cool archetype. I think this leader once again is more powerful than I originally thought. Just giving so much stuff, just such a dramatic power boost for an essentially really easy cost, because this deck just generates card advantage like crazy. So I think that's something that shouldn't be overlooked, and I think this deck has a lot of potential. I'm not sure if this is the best build for it, but hopefully it's a good build to kind of get you started with what you like about this archetype. I think it can go both ways. If you can either grind harder for the triple flash engine and even use the secret rare, or you can just do more of the summon a bunch of small guys and boost them with Fearless Pan. I think that's also a really valuable way to do it. So I think that's it. I think probably the biggest danger against this deck is your opponent having 1 yellow energy up, because they can like Nimbus or Mutaito. So that can be an issue, but other than that, I think this can be have a pretty solid chance at winning. So that's gonna be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about this deck below, and I'll catch you all next time.